So we're here now getting ready for scaling, and Liz is going to take us through our June QB Talks, which is what's new with QBO and taking a look at the latest product updates. I'm Gary Dehart, and I am your host of and the publisher of Insightful Accountant, host of our QB Talks series, as well as our Accounting Insiders podcast. And I'm pleased to be here with Liz Scott, who I will give a little bit more introduction to in just a moment after I finish up my housekeeping items. Number one, there is CPE for this event. And just like all CPEs, you need to be here for 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and you must answer at least 3 of the polling questions. Here's a hint. We only have 3, so answer all 3 or you don't get your CPE. And this is not relevant for those who are watching this in archive. This is only for the live component. If you do those 2 things, 50 minutes, 3 polls, we will send you a link tomorrow, maybe this evening, but probably tomorrow, with a short survey. Click that survey and you'll get your CPE certificate sent to you. If during the session, if you have any questions, we ask you to put them into the Q&A panel. Be specific in your question. Don't say, what did you mean by that, Liz? Say, Liz, what did you mean when you said X? Give her something to go by, because she may not be able to answer the question right when you write it. It may be 10 minutes later. She may be in a different topic. So make sure you're real specific in what the question is that you're looking for an answer for. And you will receive a link to the replay. And again, that link will be in the email that you receive as a follow-up to this session. You will also receive a link to the slide deck in that email that you'll receive. I will also drop that link to our YouTube channel into the chat, and I will drop a copy of the presentation into the chat once I turn this over to Liz. And lastly, CPE is available for this event. I know I already said that, but we always get the question. So yes, it is. So if you don't know Liz, you definitely need to get out more. Liz is everywhere. So she is the CEO of Accounting Lifeline. She's the coach. I may have an old bio, Liz. You may have done 9 things since I wrote this, but CEO of Accounting Lifeline, co-host of the Happy Hour, Insightful Accountants QBO contributing editor. She's a regular host of Insightful Accountants QB Talks webinar series. She's an Intuit Advanced certified QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, a member of the Intuit Trainer Writer Network, international speaker and trainer, and an Insightful Accountant Top 100 Pro Advisor, and our Educator Trainer Writer Pro Advisor in 2020. Liz, did I miss anything? Any key high notes on your resume there?
You got it.
All right, I got everything. All right. Now, a content creator. I didn't say that one. A content creator for software developers. I think I left that one off. So, all right, I will stop talking. I'm going dark. Liz, it's all yours. Thanks for being here on the correct date.
Well, thank you, Gary. It's always a pleasure to be here. I enjoy my friends. I enjoy being here. And, one of the things that is exciting is being able to share all of the updates that are happening with QuickBooks Online, because there's so many. So we're going to go through a full agenda today. Plus, I have a couple of new ads that didn't make the agenda, but I still wanted to share them with everybody so you can see these new features that are some of them in beta and have an idea of what's coming. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. And one of the areas that got an update is the reports. So most of you inside of QuickBooks Online are running reports, and we have seen the modern view of reports, but I want to call out what the update is. So classic view is where most of us hang out when we're writing reports, creating reports, sending them to our clients. But I'm sure you have seen this new modern view. The thing that QuickBooks did in this last release is they updated there was a little bug that if you drilled down into a transaction, sometimes when you closed that transaction, you lost your report. So that was the thing that they fixed. And, I'm going to say I've got a little bit of yay. And so I'm going to share that with you here in a second. But I'll also share one of the things that I've struggled with the new modern view reports is drilling down. So if you're like me, I want to be able to access the information really quick. And so if you're seeing right here on my screen, I'm going to use my mouse. When you're in modern view, there's an automatic collapse on all fields. And that collapse, then you have to click into, if you've got subs of subs, you're going to have to open up, expand all of those. So that's one of the things that, I want to call out. Now, there is the option to, go back to Classic View. So right now, if you're somebody who's using Classic View and you are frustrated with it, I would definitely say switch back to Classic. I think that this is an area that Intuit is continuing to ask for feedbacks. Reports are really important to us and to our clients. So I encourage you, if you've got feedback like me, then go into your QuickBooks Online, hit the feedback button, share whatever it is that is your feedback. Many of us have already given that feedback. And so I think we're going to see more releases and updates of this new modern view for reports. One of the things that I would say is great about the reports is they do appear to load faster. So that is one thing that I'm seeing as a difference is the modern view. When I've got the areas expanded, all of that does load very, very quickly. But here again is that opening a particular transaction, and in that transaction, you can see the details are all still there. You just have to expand those different areas. One of the other things that you can do inside of modern reports is you can also drill down easier. So the customization of the reports is slightly different than what we've been used to with our Classic View. You're able to move around, you're able to eliminate. Some of this is, still inside of our Classic View, but it is easier to navigate inside of Modern View. Let me show you one other. There's the Classic View. So this is a great time for our first polling question. I want to make sure that everybody's here with us and that you are ready for our polling question. So Gary, do you mind launching our first poll? So what percentage of your clients are using QuickBooks Online Advanced? And I like to give you almost a minute to answer these. So I will give you a few more seconds and then I'm going to start to count down and then we're going to move on to some cool stuff. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So less than 25% of you are using QuickBooks Online Advanced. That's not a lot. I would say, I think that what I'm seeing with my clients is there's a trend to moving to QuickBooks Online Advanced. So there's more people who are currently using it. More of my clients are starting to switch. And the reason is because I can customize more. I have more user control and I have more customization whenever it comes to reports. Budgeting. So this is a QuickBooks Online feature, and I'm going to show you, this is a new feature that's with the sync to QuickBooks. So there is a spreadsheet sync functionality inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced. I want to show you what that looks like. All right, so if you are somebody who is using QuickBooks Online Advanced, then I want to make sure that I have some construction going on in the background. So I don't know if you were able to hear that, but I just asked them, hey, chill for a little bit. Give me a minute. So hopefully you're not able to hear that. But if you are, I just want to let you know I'm trying to get that a little quieter. Anyway, so with the spreadsheet sync, it's super cool. I don't know if you've used this. A lot of you are saying that you're not using QuickBooks Online Advanced with your clients right now. So you may or may not have seen this. But I really like the spreadsheet sync. There's a lot of slides. So if you're somebody who likes to follow along with slides or you want to refer back to the slides later, Gary's already put the handouts inside of the chat so you can download these. So I'm going to go through these slides, but then I'm going to take you live into QuickBooks so that way you can actually see it in action. All right, so if I come over and I look at what are some of the functionalities right now of what I'm talking about. budgeting. So now you can actually import a budget, you can sync a budget, you can change it in Excel, you can run reports inside of the spreadsheet sync. So lots of flexibility there. And then you can actually control who has access. So with the spreadsheet sync, it's pretty easy to get started. It's an add-on to Excel. So if you're already comfortable with add-ons for Excel, we'll go through what that looks like, but it's a Excel add-on. And the way to get it is just by inside of QuickBooks Online saying that you want to utilize the spreadsheet sync. Once you're there, here's some of the steps that's going to be what you can do. We're going to manage budgets, and then you can create new budgets. You can select your company. You can pick the date range. You can even decide which areas of the budget that you want to adjust. And then from Excel, you're able to sync that budget to QuickBooks Online Advanced, and that's where the budget will be. You can still access all of the budgets like normal inside of QuickBooks. You can run all of your reports. You can even run the budgets versus actual reports while you're inside of the spreadsheet sync. So if you're somebody who likes to manipulate the reports, edit them, change them in Excel, this is a great functionality because it's going to allow for you to download to Excel and then also work with that data. And then you can then sync again back to QuickBooks Online Advanced, and you haven't lost any of your work. So I do actually really like this functionality. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to go ahead and go live. And then this is also the other add-on, is that you can determine who has access to these budgets. So you should be seeing my screen now. I'm looking at QuickBooks Online. And from here, if I want to go over into reports, I could see I'm looking for my spreadsheet sync. So if I come over here and I look at my budgets, I can actually create a spreadsheet. I can do new. And then the other thing I can do is come up to my spreadsheet sync. And that's going to launch it. So we're going to open up in Excel. Here we are in Excel. And then I can come down and I can pick manage budgets. And then I'm able to either edit an existing budget or I can create a new. So I'm going to go ahead and say create new. And then I'm going to pick my demo company right here. And I'm just going to call it test. I'm going to pick the period that I'm going to be working on. And then I'm going to say set up that budget. Here's where it's loading the screen. It's pulling in all of the information that I want to look at. It's looking at all of my chart of accounts and pulling those all in. And then I can come over here and I can see the different areas. If I wanted to change those, I could put in however many dollars I wanted to have in each of these different areas. And then once I'm finished with my editing, then I can come over here and I can say sync to QuickBooks. And I could continue to edit, or I could go ahead and view in QuickBooks. Since I have QuickBooks already open, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to refresh. And I'm going to show you that brand new budget that we just created. So I'm going to say view edit. And here again, if I wanted to make any changes, I could save those changes. And then once I go back over to QuickBooks, I could actually resync and it's going to show me that new information. So maybe I wanted to say this is going to be $5,000 across the board, save. And then, of course, they're always going to ask you for your feedback. So be sure to give it. But if I wanted to say done, and I wanted to edit an existing budget, now I can say select that budget and I could actually work on it. I could see my changes that I just made. So what I wanted you to see here is how fast it works. It's very easy. Up here in the top, if you're working inside of Excel, you can see here's my add-on. So anytime that you're in Excel and you want to start working with the spreadsheet sync, once you have it enabled, you just can come over here to this green QB icon and you can click it and you're going to open up. the spreadsheet sync functionality. This is a bonus thing that I want to show you, but if you're somebody who likes this spreadsheet sync, I think I'm going to wow you because I love this. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to grab Larry's landscaping, and I am not going to do budgets. So hang on just a second. Let me come back over here. Let me get back into ad edit. For years, I've been an advocate of CData. I really like the Z-Access. I really like a lot of those different apps that are out there that allow me to edit the data inside of QuickBooks. So now QuickBooks Online Advanced has this functionality. I would like to call it a light version, but it's still super cool. So what it means is you can edit your transactions that are inside of QuickBooks currently. You know, I would like to say some of these accountant tools are really expensive. So being able to have even the light version for the included subscription costs, to me, that's a win. So let me show you what I can do. So I'm going to pick inside of my company. Actually, let's go with sales receipts. That's going to be a little easier example. So I'm going to pick sales receipts. And you can see I've got purchases that are going to be listed here too. And then I have to select my company. So you can have all of your clients connected to this, and then you can just filter between which one it is that you want to work on. I'm going to say use my company data. It's going to say what period of time do you want us to pull all of those sales receipts. And I'm going to say, let's use the scenario of we've got a client and they have made a really messy job of their checking account. Instead of having all of those sales receipts go into undeposited funds so they could batch a deposit, what they did instead is they sent all of those sales receipts directly over to the checking account. That is a huge pain. You know, then you have to go through and total up what's the batch really supposed to be, what is the match to the bank. And so instead of needing to go through and do it manually, what you can do instead is use Spreadsheet Sync to grab all of those sales receipts that went directly to the checking account, and we can point them instead to the undeposited funds. And what that means is we're able to edit inside of Spreadsheet Sync really fast. So we haven't had that functionality with being able to edit transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and say get the data, because we're going to say last month is when she did it. And if you remember, this is going to pull in purchases too. I don't want to look at purchases. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say the only thing that I want to, oops, I grabbed the wrong. The only thing that I want to look at is just sales receipts. So I'm going to take off purchases. Here's my sales receipts, and you can see they have positioned every single one of those sales receipts to go to the checking account. But instead, what I can do is I can say, let's point that to undeposited funds. Let's see. I want to grab it from here. It didn't like my adding. So let me pull it up. Undeposited funds, there we've got it. And then now I can actually take that value and I can copy it. I can copy it down. Oops, I can copy that value down, and that way I can make all of these updates all at once. What's going to happen is over here, I need to determine, do I want this to post to QuickBooks? So my answer is yes on all of these. I want it to post to QuickBooks. So I must activate the Spreadsheet Sync in order for it to transfer that data over into QuickBooks. So I'm going to say Spreadsheet Sync. And now if, let me go ahead and just show you what QuickBooks looks like beforehand. That way you're able to stay with me on what I'm seeing. Let's go look at our bank account. And we're going to pull up our register for May, and here we can actually filter May 1st through May 31st. And we can see that our deposits are coming directly over into our checking account. So that's the thing that we want to go and correct, because they didn't go together, they actually went individually. So if I come over here, or they went together in a batch, sorry. So if I go ahead and say sync, we can push all of that information into QuickBooks. We now have the update. I can say done. And now whenever I go over into QuickBooks, you'll be able to see not only did my register get updated, so if I wanted to refresh there, I could, but then also I'm going to be able to come over into my undeposited funds and I can make the grouped deposit if I need to. So everything that was May, there's all of our May activity that we just edited. So super fun, super easy to use that spreadsheet sync. Big fan. You know, this is something that, you know, before having the spreadsheet sync, we had to use some type of accountant tool in order to do those kinds of batch updates, especially to a bank account. So this is something that I think is going to save a lot of us time whenever we're doing cleanup work. I'm going to look at the questions and I'm going to see what you've got to me for me. And George, I see your question and I'm going to answer it live. As far as the price for QuickBooks Online Advanced, I agree with you. It's pricey. And, you know, I've had clients that absolutely it wasn't the right tool for them because of the cost. There's other clients that I've got that, you know, the subscription price is not a big deal. They get all of the things that they're wanting out of it. So, you know, it really depends on your particular client and the needs. So how well does budgeting work for class codes? I think it does pretty well with class codes. So I've done budgets by jobs. So that's been something that I've done for clients. I've done for myself because I want to keep track of a particular project. So I think it does all right there. Can I use the class sync inside of the spreadsheet sync? Yes. So if you didn't have a class that was added on that spreadsheet, you absolutely could. You can see I've got class here. I know we're looking at a sales receipt, but I just wanted to show you. I can actually, in a big batch, also update the class. That's a huge thing for a lot of us. I know that sometimes I'm thinking right now about a client who has a lot of different houses that I'm working on their QuickBooks right now, and they haven't assigned classes to any of their tenants. This would be a great way for me able to actually come over here and sort who was the payee, and then I could apply really quickly a class. So great question. Let me see. QuickBooks Online Advanced. Yes, that is what I'm working in right now. And then let's see. For payroll, so we've got a question, does spreadsheet sync work with payroll? And I'm going to say not yet. I'm not even sure that it ever will. But if you look at, well, I've got employees, so I haven't tried this before. Yeah, clear data. I don't know if we're going to get anything here or not. Let's see. I don't know what you can do here. Use my data. I think this is just going to be the list of employees. Yeah, so I'm going to say not really. All right, so let me come back over here to our slides. All of these slides that we've got right there are, you know, available inside of that PDF handout. All right, so Gary, you want to launch our next poll? All right, so my question to you is, are you currently using budgets with your clients? For me, you know, I thought about how do I work with my clients, do coaching, advisory, those kinds of things. And budgets was one of those easy places to begin. So I started asking them, how much money do you need in order to survive with your family? And then we worked from that number to determine how profitable do they need to be in order to supply those funds to their family. So that's a big one. I am a fan of budgets. I'm going to count everybody down here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Oh, so we have about a 50-50 right here. Don't have that very often, so that's pretty cool. So about 50% of you are saying that yes, you are actually using budgets with your clients. So great functionality there. Great to see. And then Leslie, you're saying, hey, budgets is a game changer for you. I'm glad. All right, so we're going to keep on moving on. And this functionality is all about workflows. So a lot of you are using workflow tools. So if you're already using that, I'm going to say those workflow tools are probably going to be more robust than this functionality here inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced. But there are some cases that I want to set up a workflow to give a notification. And that could be, I want to make sure that somebody has approved a bill. So you can see here that if a bill is over $5,000, we need to send a task over to Esther, and Esther, my good buddy, she's going to have to approve that before I can pay it. So that would be an automatic functionality. And then also we can send out some reminders that would go out. So here's what it would look like. And then Esther would be able to go into her notifications. She could approve it. Let me go ahead and show you live, because there is a piece of the workflow that I do really like. If we come over here and we let's look at my workflow that I set up today. And I wanted to be able to say, because we were talking about deposits just a minute ago, anytime that there's dollars greater than 0 sitting in undeposited funds, send a notification. Whoever that bookkeeper is that is in charge of posting those deposits, let them know that there's funds available. You can do email, you can do text, maybe text is the best way to get a hold of that person. Here's what it's going to say. It's time to go and record that deposit. And then all of those funds that we just received and we moved them from the checking account over into the undeposited funds, that would be part of what's going to kick off that notification. So at end of day, if there's dollars sitting there, there's going to be a notification that's going to go off to that person. All right, let me take us back over into slides. Again, you've got all of those slides available for you to look through later too. Manage users. So, here's another area where we've got a one screen option now. So instead of needing to have several clicks and dive into permissions and user roles, now you can see what you're saying yes to and agreeing to in one screen. So that's the update here, is that now you have more visibility. The controls, I'm going to say, are really the same. It's just how you're able to display. So you've got the different roles. You can then assign those roles to different users. So just a little bit of a difference there. Roles are the permissions or the things that you want to grant access to. And then you can take those users and assign them to those roles with the designated permissions. I'm going to look right here. Wayne, you've got a question. And you're saying, yes, you can upgrade and downgrade at any time. Is there anything to stop users from upgrading to advanced and for just a one-time or occasional basis and then downgrade? Wayne, I haven't done that, but I can tell you, if I was working with the client and I needed to do a lot of cleanup and I was doing something like what we just looked at a minute ago, I would absolutely upgrade them for a month. And then I might downgrade them the next month because, maybe they don't need to stay in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So I can see maybe, yes, that there would be occasionally times that you want to upgrade in order to have some functionality. And then later on, you might say that's more than what we need. So you might downgrade. Great question. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Here's the user roles. You can see what all they have access to. I like the green check boxes. What it's doing is it's just giving a lot more visibility and clarity into the areas that you're saying yes to. So a lot more customization. I think that this came from all of us giving feedback and saying QuickBooks Online, we needed to have the ability to edit the different users and roles. Those are really nice because then you can set up a particular role and then assign it over and over again. So, you know, with the different roles and customization, I think that at this point, QuickBooks Online Advanced with the users, I think they've nailed it. So I'm very satisfied with the roles and the user permissions inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced. And then you can also edit. So if you needed to edit a user and you needed to say, hey, I'm going to change them. Maybe they were a salesperson for a lot of years. Now they're going to be part of the admin team, their management. They need more permissions. Maybe they need to edit timesheets or whatever. You can certainly come in there and you can edit it. Talking about QuickBooks Time, this is just kind of a bonus thing that I'm going to share with you. I think it's interesting. But I'm going to go over here and see these questions. So Christina, you asked me a question and you're saying, wouldn't it be lovely if QuickBooks Online Advanced was the advanced version? QuickBooks Online Accountant, sorry, was the advanced version. Yes, it is. So if you're somebody who's using QuickBooks Online Accountant, you have the advanced version. So you can go over there and start doing spreadsheet sync for your company. You can do custom report building inside of your books. So anybody who is an accountant, pro advisor, in other words, that's here, you absolutely have the QuickBooks Online Advanced functionality. Oh, for use of the clients. Okay, so I see. Yeah, no, there's really for use of the clients. I think that it would be cool if we had an accountant version that's kind of like desktop. That's what that reminds me of, Christina. And where if you have the accountant version in desktop, you've got access to all of your tools. So if we had the accountant version for us, then we would have access to all of the tools. That would be super cool. I really like that idea. And then Leslie, let's see. Yeah, let's see, before downgrading. Yeah, and so Leslie's just saying, hey, it's a really good idea to make sure that you are backing up and getting some of the benefits out of it. And then if you have QuickBooks Online Advanced, how do we access? When you go into your books inside of your Pro Advisor account, you should be able to see the subscription. So you can go and look at it if you wanted to, but otherwise you can just go over to reports. That's the fastest way that I know how to tell you to go and look to see which version that you've got. If you got the custom reports up there at the top, you're at QuickBooks Online Advanced, which you all should be. Okay, so QuickBooks Time is getting a new name. So it will soon be relaunched as QuickBooks Workforce. So this is just kind of a cool thing that's coming. So I think the functionality is going to stay the same, but soon we will be calling QuickBooks Time QuickBooks Workforce. I think it makes sense. We're using QuickBooks Workforce for our employees anyway. They're logging in to be able to see their W-2s, change any personal information, and now they're going to also be able to log their time. I think that this is a natural move, and I think this means that we're going to get everything that is employee related in one place. Kind of like it. Another simple update that I'll share with you is that the standalone contractor payments is also available. What it looks like is this. If you're somebody who's familiar with using QuickBooks Online standalone payroll, and you have all of the your navigation bar inside of QuickBooks Online looks very similar, except for the only center you have is payroll. And then you've got some reports options. That's exactly the way that the contractor's version looks. So let me kind of just reiterate what this is. It is a standalone contractor's payment option. And you can go in and you can have all of the same functionality like you do with payroll or like you do inside of QuickBooks Online. If you've got payroll and you're paying your contractors, just kind of a different way for users to subscribe to it. 1099 tracker, one of the updates that's happened recently is from your dashboard, you can now see who's got their W-9 loaded and who's got all of the information that is necessary in order to process end of year 1099s. So if you go over into your contractors area inside of expenses, you're going to be able to see all of your contractors. You can look at the list. You can easily see, does everybody have a green check mark? If no, then maybe you want to send off that request. There is a request option to send off inside of QuickBooks Online, and then it will ask that contractor to fill out all of the details. Even though it's digital, it does work as your W-9 information, and so it will check the box if they do it even digitally. So instead of needing to go into the payroll area, this is actually happening inside of the expenses center. And if you have said that you have a 1099 contractor and you've checked the box, that's what's going to be visible here. So you're going to see that they are now a contractor and visible in this contractors tab. So I'm going to go ahead and keep moving. So UI changes to the customer tab. So earlier, I was talking about some cool stuff that is coming to us and has been rolled out really recently. Here's some of the new stuff that is in beta and it's not live to everyone, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek at what's coming. So this doesn't have to be QuickBooks Online Advanced. This is in all versions. QuickBooks bought MailChimp, I'm gonna say probably 18 months ago. And now we're starting to see some movement. They've told us that there was going to be some integrations between QuickBooks Online and MailChimp. This is the first of what I've seen. This is a client that actually has Simple Start. So this isn't even a plus client. And you can see here that inside of my customer center, I've got a marketing tab. Now that marketing tab, you could actually see how it works by playing that little video. Not all of my clients has got this. So, most of the time when I'm thinking about the rollout of new functionality, it's in phases. And that's true with this new marketing tab. So my clients don't all have this. In fact, I think there's just a couple that I'm seeing this available. So I have a question here. Let me go ahead and answer it before I move on. What's the upcharge for contractor option and W-9? You're not currently using QuickBooks Online Payroll. That's a really great question. One of the things that I would say is go over to your QBOA and you can say you want to add a client, or you can pick a client, you can add payroll, and that's going to give you all of the current prices. There is a price difference between core, premium, and elite payroll subscriptions. Core, I think, is going to be, I think it's $5 per employee or per contractor per month. And then there is a $8, I think, for premium. And I think that elite, maybe $10. I don't really remember exact prices, but you should be able to go over and look at those prices before you engage with payroll. So Angie, you're saying that you don't see the marketing tab, and is this available in Canada? I'm going to say, Angie, that this is something that is being rolled out in phases. Again, they're always asking for feedback. So I don't think that we're going to have any additional information right now, but let me show you. This is what it looks like. I'm able to actually see this new UI change. This is another thing that's coming. So this particular client that had the marketing, you could actually see their layout of the customer center was actually different. And I'm going to show you another example of something new. This is QuickBooks Online Advanced client. And I don't know, because this is a beta functionality, I don't know if it's specific to QuickBooks Online Advanced, but that was the client that I was working in. They were an advanced client. And there's this new button that says Automatic Lead Organizer. When you click on it, is going to say, do you want to sign up for the MailChimp and QuickBooks Online integration? Super new. I only saw this in one of my clients, so nobody else had it except for one, and it was an advanced client, and I have other advanced clients, and this wasn't there. But you do sign up for it, and then once you sign up, let me tell you some of the functionality that it's got in it. You're going to be able to organize jobs. So I'm kind of reading some of the notes about what it does. So you'll be able to organize jobs. You'll be able to see who's paid. You'll be able to see who's engaging with you. If somebody on MailChimp, maybe you have some type of something that goes out and they engage with that, you can actually create a sales transaction automatically. Not sure how that works yet. I haven't seen it in action. I'm just kind of telling you some of the functionality that is coming. So if you have that option, sign up for that beta test. Make sure that you're part of it. It's going to also, look at how cool this is. So what else do you want to manage? So where are all of your incoming leads being generated? You can actually put in social media. You can put your phone number in here, website, Google business, any of these that you're currently using. Go ahead and when you sign up, make sure that you apply all of those that are applicable. And then I guess we're going to be waiting to see what happens. So we knew that there was going to be an integration whenever Intuit bought MailChimp, but this is kind of some of the first stuff that I'm seeing. So if you've seen something different, throw it over in the Q&A, because I'm curious if you're also seeing these types of new screens inside of QuickBooks Online whenever it comes to marketing and MailChimp. All right, let's go ahead and, Gary, if you don't mind, launch our next poll. And I believe that this is our last poll. So are you using MailChimp currently for your marketing? Now, I'm just curious, who all is using MailChimp. Our firm uses MailChimp for newsletters. We do our graphic design inside of MailChimp and send those out. And then we can, look to see who's opening those newsletters. So we're currently a MailChimp user, but I'm curious how many of you are too. All right, so I'll go ahead and count us down. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to say the majority of you said no, that you are not a MailChimp user. There is a free version of MailChimp. So I'm going to say all of you here that are working with clients probably want to go sign up and just try it. The free version, I used it for a long time. It works. It has a lot of great functionality in it. And that way, the more that we see of this MailChimp QuickBooks Online integration, we're going to be able to give information to our clients. My clients are going out and they're seeing these types of alerts themselves. They're getting updates. And so I like to try and stay ahead of it. I'm going to continue to watch what's happening. I'm going to share with you what I'm seeing, but I recommend, going in and testing for yourself. All right. So I don't see any comments there. I'm going to go ahead and move over into business overview. This is super cool. Oh, just as I said that, is there a video that you recommend to watch about MailChimp? And there's a lot of YouTube videos, but the basic functionality of going in and creating a newsletter and having a list of people that you want to be your subscribers, all of those are pretty easy to manipulate, to move in data, export data, import data. But I would go check YouTube in order to see just exactly how to use MailChimp. And honestly, Angie, that's a really great idea for an article. And so I might write something in order to be able to walk everybody through engaging with MailChimp, just because we know that this is coming. And I have a feeling that it's going to be huge. I have a feeling that it's going to be an area that a lot of our clients are going to want to engage. Most of my clients are virtual. and they rely heavily on marketing. They need that engagement in order to make sure that people know about new products that are coming out, specials, holidays, whatever, promotionals. So I think that we're going to see more MailChimp type of integrations. And if I can have a product that's inside of a newsletter and somebody can subscribe to it directly, and we can see some of that update inside of QuickBooks, and so they can pay and do everything inside of that notice that goes out to them, that's going to be a really big win for our clients. So that's why I'm really staying on top of this. All right, business overview. Widgets. That's where I'm going with this piece of content. I want to show you, most of us have been frustrated in the past with our widgets. We want to move them, we want to change them, we want to do things with them. And where I saw this is in QuickBooks Online Advanced, that I can actually customize my widgets. So I can move them around, I can delete them, I can say, what do I want visible on my widgets? And let me show you what that looks like. So let's do some playing here together. Again, I'm inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced, and here's the widgets that are visible right now. If I click on my customize, I could say I want to add or remove, and my options would be, I can add the bank account, I could add the expenses. If I wanted to take off some of these other areas, I could, but let's just say I want them all. And then we can save. All right, so here's the bank account. You know what, most of us are used to seeing the bank account over on this left side. I'm gonna say my clients might want to see that bank account first thing. And so maybe they're going to want to have it visible and on the left side over by where they're navigating. The other thing that I can do here is I can actually expand this area. So instead of just having a collapsed view of the bank account, I can actually see what's happening with all of my accounts that have registers. I can move around some of these. I can say, where do I want it to be displayed? Maybe I want to have my P&L come first, and maybe I want to see expenses up here. And here's something super cool. I know a lot of you have been asking for this for years. If you want to turn off these notifications, you can actually delete it. So what this is telling you is upcoming things that are happening inside of QuickBooks. So QuickBooks alerts, if you want to remove them, you now can say delete, and it's taken off of your dashboard. And then you can say done, and here's your new customized dashboard inside of the business overview. Let's see. Oh, thank you. So Merch just went and looked at some of the pricing for contractor payments, and he found $7.50 per month, which is currently half off for 20 contractors included. And then after that, $2 for additional contractors. So yeah, I think that for those of you who are working with clients that are using QuickBooks Online for their contractor payments, you know, they may want to do it outside of QuickBooks. Maybe they want to have a separate area where they're not showing all of their admin, what's happening with the different payments. You know, that would be one of the reasons why they might want to do a standalone. I know I've had a couple of clients that in the past have wanted to have their payroll separate. They had an office manager that they really didn't want to have visibility to all of the different department managers. And so QuickBooks Online Payroll was a standalone option, and they would only inside of QuickBooks see the net cleared amount that was going to be drafted from the bank account. All right, so let's go ahead and look at a couple of other things that we've got going on. You know, there's a lot of updates that I just went through. I want to make sure that if you've got any questions about what I covered, what I went through, throw them over into the Q&A. I like answering live questions. I'm happy to do it. So any of these areas that I covered today, whether it's the reports or it's that spreadsheet sync. That's probably going to be my favorite functionality of today's webinar. I love being able to go over there and sync data. I can add, I can edit. There's lots of options as far as invoicing or sales receipts. There was the question about, can I batch edit classes? Absolutely. We can do that inside of transaction review, inside of our accountant toolbox as well. But what I do like is I can see all of the data inside of Excel. It's super easy to manipulate, move it around, sort it, filter it, however I need to be able to do that. The workflows. So many of you are also watching those workflows. I think that most of us are going to find some need along the way to send an alert. It just helps to be able to have automatic updates. So I think that that's the part that I like about workflows is the automatic updates. I want notifications to be sent out. If there's somebody who needs to record those deposits, sending them an alert so that way they know to do that is great. And then being able to also see that modern view. I think that that's going to be an area that we want to continue to give feedback. If you're like me, I want to be able to pull my report and I like to be able to see my data. Sometimes clicking multiple times, it's time consuming. And I'm used to that classic view of being able to see the detail. Whenever I click into a dollar amount, it's because I want to see that detail. And right now, the default is to have it collapsed. So that's my continual feedback. I don't see any questions that are coming in right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, Gary, do you want to let anybody know about upcoming webinars or events that are happening?
Well, hello, Liz. I'm sure. Let's see here. Actually, as you were talking, I was going to try to throw a poll in to see who's going to Scaling New Heights, but go ahead and put that in the chat or in the, whatever you have access to. I think you have access to chat there, or the Q&A. If you're going to Scaling New Heights, just put in a yes, and then come find us there. We actually have a couple of booths. Liz, how can they find you other than teaching how many classes?
The class that I'm most excited about is going to be a panel discussion all about outsourcing. So you and I have had that conversation before. I decided last year to outsource the firm, so the accounting, and I had great response. I think that it's certainly more timely, and I want to be able to allow other people who are like me to give their feedback to. So it's going to be a session that's got 3 all-star panelists that are going to be giving their input about how outsourcing works for them.
Yeah, we are currently outsourcing mostly, admin type of things, but we're using a group that's in the Philippines, and it's been amazing. Just the kind of work you can shift, and it's like gladly accepted and done quickly. And our person, his name is Patch. He's, always shooting a note. Hey, what else can I do? And it's amazing how much you don't, until you do it, until you outsource it and get it off your plate, you don't really realize how much you're doing that takes you away from doing your core job or doing, for us, revenue producing activities, or, for you, content producing type activities, right? It's amazing how much you can get drawn away from doing what A, you like to do, B, what you're best at, and C, what you really should be doing on a day-to-day basis. So I may try to sit in on that. But upcoming, so we have the QB Talks every month, and then in September we do have another installment of our Future Forward Summit. So just watch. That's going to be concentrated on AI, automation, and one other topic I don't remember off the top of my head. So just watch Insightful Accountant for that. And again, it's the end of September. I think it's the 28th and 29th, I believe, is the dates. But again, we will be posting that. Is there something else that I'm missing that that we do? Well, tax practice, TPN Tax Talks, which is tax focused 30-minute webinars once a month. And we do have a couple other series that we're working on that we should be launching in the next, probably in August, I think is when you'll see those hit. Other than that, there are some chats in there. Murph threw some information in there from Murph that Liz had quoted that he found just while she was talking. And just to reiterate, CPE, if you qualify, that you will receive an email from us within about 24 hours. Click on that survey, answer the 3 quick questions, and we'll send you your certificate. If you feel like you did or should have received that email but did not receive it, just shoot us a note at info@insightfulaccountant.com. I will put that in the chat too, just in case you can't understand me. info@insightfulaccountant.com if you think you should have received a CPE certificate and you don't receive it. Just shoot a note there and we will look into that for you. Other than that, Liz, thank you so much. Always a wealth of knowledge that you share. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Probably see you somewhere Sunday in St. Louis. Thanks, everybody.